Inna Sovsun, who joins us live from Kyiv. She's a member of Parliament of Ukraine. Inna, good to see you. So let's talk about Joe Biden's visit on Monday. How important was that?
Well, it was very important for several reasons. First of all, we are now approaching the first year mark of this big invasion, of course, followed after 8 years of a more local war in Donbass. Truly, everybody expected Ukraine to fall within the first couple of days. But yesterday, President of the United States visited Kyiv, not Vladimir Putin. And I think that is highly symbolic, that Ukraine remains the area, the territory, the country of freedom, and we continue to fight for it. So I think in this time when everybody here is truly very emotional and very nervous about this 1 year mark, President Biden coming here was very important in that sense. But I also think that sends a message not just to Ukrainians, the message of support, but also the message to the rest of the world. This is where the free world stands. This is what United States is going to continue to do. And I think that was an important message to all our Western allies, but also to China, who is, let's put it mildly, dubious on its policy about Ukraine and the war of Russia against Ukraine. And I very much hope that they will hear this message. And seeing Joe Biden here in Kyiv also was intended as a message to China, not just to us here in Kyiv or to the Western audience who have been supporting Ukraine.
And it was a very important message, but nevertheless, the 1 year anniversary of Russia's invasion is approaching. There doesn't seem to be any end in sight. I mean, what are your thoughts on the year ahead? Do you fear Russia stepping up its offensive as spring approaches?
Well, I'll tell you this. This year has, of course, been a very difficult one. I personally feel like someone just stole a year of my life. It didn't go the way it planned. I was separated from my son for a couple of months. I've been separated from my partner for a year now because he's fighting in the front line from day one of this invasion. So this is not the year that I wanted to spend. But I'm also proud that we did spend it the way we did, because we have proven that fighting against the second biggest army in the world is possible if people are committed and if people understand why this is important to us. And, I asked my son yesterday, why do you think Joe Biden came to Kyiv? And he looked at me and he said, because we are unstoppable, because we continue to fight against Russia. And I think this is important. And despite this being a very difficult fight for us losing many, many people, including today, the attack in Kherson is, of course, devastating. But at the same time, we see that Russian army is not that strong as everybody expected it to be. It's actually in disarray, it's disorganized, the morale is extremely low, lots of weapons that they're using are actually in very bad shape, they cannot get access to new technologies. So actually fighting against them is possible. And the way to make this war less painful to Ukrainian, both military and civilians, is actually to give us more weapons, because we have proven to the world that we can use them very, very efficiently in fighting Russian aggression over here. So yes, I'm not going to say that this war is going to end this year. I don't know that. I wish for that to be true, but I don't know. But what I'm sure of is that the only way to de-escalate this situation is to let Ukrainian army do what it has been doing for a year quite successfully, to fight against the aggressor who has attacked us completely unprovoked. But we have been fighting against this country for over a year now.
And when Joe Biden says the battle in Ukraine is a battle for democracy, do you agree with that? Is this a battle for European way of life?
Very much so. Look, Putin hates us. Well, first of all, because there is history between Ukraine and Russia has always been trying to subjugate Ukraine one way or another. But also the truth is that Putin is scared of Ukraine because we chose democracy, because we chose the liberal Western world. And that is what he is afraid to have near his borders. It's not NATO that he is afraid of. NATO has not once attacked Russia. This has never been a threat to Russia. It has actually been a way to defend itself, not to attack to a big extent. But what he is afraid of course, free elections, liberal values, human rights. That is what he doesn't want to see in his country, and that getting closer to his border is what he wants to avoid. And that is why he hates Ukraine so much, because we have chosen this democratic path and we have been fighting for it in two revolutions and now in this war. That is very much what he is afraid of. And we have heard it actually in his today's speech when he was talking about the Western values, the Western propaganda and all of that. It's all part of the same thing to him. Ukraine, the West, it's all the same, and that is what he's fighting against. And he has proven it once again in his speech today, which was truly very much of a rambling of an old drunk guy. But the truth is that he didn't say much, but he did say this. He did connect Ukraine to the West, and that is why he's fighting us, seeing us as the proxy to the West.
Inna Sovsun, thank you very much indeed for speaking with us.